Attention! Attention! Incident involving item number SCP-253, Object Class Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-253 possesses a substantial threat to humanity. SCP-253 is to be kept under Biosafety Level 4 protocols at all times. All research is to be conducted at a site where incineration and irradiation protocols can be swiftly enacted, that is geographically isolated and does not possess a diverse biosphere. The sterilization protocols shall be enacted following the occurrence of any event on this list. Communications blackouts lasting longer than 48 hours. Power disruption lasting longer than 1 minute during any active experience involving SCP-253. Abnormal rise in average temperatures beyond a change of 6 degrees Celsius or 11 degrees Fahrenheit, or rise in humidities levels to 90% relative humidity. Manifestations of unusual electromagnetic phenomena during testing of SCP-253. At the conclusion of testing, any subjects exposed to SCP-253 are to be disposed of, and their remains subject to the sterilization protocol. Any researcher leaving the facility to undergo 2 weeks of mandatory chemotherapy, followed by a 15-day quarantine. SCP-253 is a cluster of undifferentiated human cells, matching the physiological traits of cancer. As per cancerous cells, cultured samples of SCP-253 will grow indefinitely if given an adequate source of nutrition. SCP-253 is contagious, able to pass from human to human, as well as to some animal species. SCP-253 is not an airborne contagion, but physical contact with surface neoplasms on infected subjects will spread the plague. The first sign of SCP-253 infection is the emergence of skin lesions, typically dime-sized, 2 centimeters in diameter, in groups of 3 to 5 at the site of infection. Within 12 hours after the appearance of the lesions, MRI scans show the development of neoplasms within the brain. At this time, the neoplasms do not induce neurological symptoms. Over the next 24 to 48 hours, numerous skin lesions start to emerge and grow in size. These lesions often induce substantial swelling in surrounding tissue. This can be quite painful for the subject. Often, if left untreated, leaves many subjects unable to move. Toward the end of the 48-hour period, neoplasms start to emerge in the lymphatic system, and neurological symptoms start to manifest. The neurological symptoms of SCP-253 are different for each patient, depending on which part of the brain the invasive cells have contaminated, with one exception. Each human patient heretofore exposed to SCP-253 has felt a complete cessation of pain 48 to 49 hours after infection. Other neurological symptoms include inability to focus attention, disorganized speech, memory loss, hallucinations, euphoria, megalomania, inappropriate emotional responses, sociopathic tendencies, catatonia. The neoplasms do not seem to respond to radiation, and chemotherapy in high doses has only minimal effects. Chemotherapy has observed to kill some cells and markedly slow the growth of others, and therefore might be useful for post-exposure prophylaxis, but is ineffective in established disease. These cells will overwhelm the host within 5 days, resulting in death. If not transferred to a new host, these cells will consume any remaining usable biomass of the host's corpse, before finally running out of resources and dying. If the mass of cells within a population reaches the determined threshold, electromagnetic phenomena will start to manifest. The sources of these phenomena appear to be the infected hosts, but the mechanism of the EM manipulation is not understood at this time. It also appears the EM emanations facilitate some sort of communication between the hosts. This is coordinated in some fashion by the neoplasms. The hosts start to act as one entity, spread through many bodies. The intelligence of this entity is initially animalistic and reactive, as the intelligence of the entity is believed to be based on the remaining brain tissue within the hosts. It is hypothesized that the entity may be able to achieve human-like intelligence. The events from Incident I-J77-82 appear to support this hypothesis, and research suggests that some of the more unsettling things seen at the incident hospital are manifestations of this intellect. Until suitable methods can be created to jam the EM transmissions of the end-stage infection entity, and until treatment alternatives for the disease enters common usage, the utmost care must be taken with samples of SCP-253. Incident I-J77-82. The Foundation became aware of a significant event leading to the quarantine of an entire hospital under the pretext of an Ebola epidemic. Due to reports of the abnormal electromagnetic phenomena associated with the hospital, the report was transmitted through unofficial channels and eventually made its way to the Foundation. Concerned that other groups might get involved, the Foundation sent a team to investigate the situation. At 1800 hours, an infiltration squad of the task force entered Incident Hospital. Examination of the exterior of the hospital showed no abnormal signs. Telescopic examination through windows showed human shapes of indeterminate origin moving through the halls of the hospital. Examination of the electromagnetic spectrum showed the hospital was giving off EM energy. Analysis of the signal showed a pulse of consistent energy lasting between 29.2 seconds and 45.1 seconds. This pulse was followed by a 2.3 to 11.2 second cessation of emission. The pulse's energy was primarily concentrated in 3 bands. Access to this information is denied. The SHF pulse initially interfered with the site investigation team's satellite link-ups. Additionally, the IR spectrum showed a radiation spike consistent with a temperature within the structure approximately 40 degrees Celsius or 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Seismic investigation proved inconclusive. The following team members entered said hospital. Lead G-01 and agents 34, 57, 29, 12, and 48. Agents 29, 57, and G-01 escaped from Incident Hospital. Sterilization protocol was enacted minutes later. It appeared several of the infected hosts were attempting to escape from structure. The 3 survivors of the infiltration team were placed in quarantine, and samples of SCP-253 were obtained from them. Though treatment was attempted, none of them survived past 5 days. Agent 48 was lost in retreat, and unfortunately, his camera was unable to be salvaged. Wireless backup protocols were in use. The distortion effect in the hospital meant a great deal of photographic evidence collected was fragmentary. Agent 48 and 34 were found badly burned. Remains identifiable as Agent 12 were not recovered. Other human remains were found, but with no recognizable trace of SCP-253. The sterilization site has been determined to be devoid of all traces of SCP-253 and will leave Foundation custody 6 months after the release of this incident report. This incident is marked classified. Any additional access to this report is denied until further notice. We must always secure, contain, protect.